Okay, get out your homework from last night, the Try These Problems numbers 1 through 9 from page 201. I'm going to solve the problems here in this video, so this will serve as your answer key. So please check your work. Any of the ones that you missed, go ahead and try to pause the video, try to fix the ones that you missed, and if you have any questions, send me an email. So for number 1, we are going to factor out the greatest common factor of both terms, which is going to be x squared. X squared goes into x to the third power, x to the first time, plus 2. That's your factored form. So if I did check my work, the way I'd check my work is I would multiply it out again. X squared times x to the first is x to the third, plus 2 times x squared, which is 2x squared. That is my original polynomial, so that is correct. If I wanted to check my work, that's how I check my work. Okay, going on to number 2. I'm going to pull out a 3, factor out a 3, and I'll have negative t squared plus 2t minus 3. That's one answer I could have gotten. If I factored out a negative 3 instead, it just gets a little trickier, but it is still a possible answer. Since I factored out a negative 3, I would have to make this a negative 2t in order that when you multiply negative 3 times negative 2t, I get a positive 6 because the original polynomial has a positive 6t. Likewise, I would put a positive 3 here in order to take care of that negative in front of the 3. Either of these answers is correct. Number 3, you both have 6 and both have at least r to the third power. So 6r cubed is my GCF. I'm going to factor that out. In the first term, I just need an s. The second term, I'm going to need a 1. Now it looks like I wouldn't need anything in a sense because I pulled out a 6r to the third, but I do need to put a 1 in that case so that when I would check it, if I did multiply it out, I would get 6r cubed s minus 6r cubed. If I didn't have that minus 1 right there, if I didn't put that 1, I would miss the whole second term. So that is necessary. Okay, for number 4, look at the 12, 72, and 60. Your GCF of those numbers is 12. I see x's, y's, and z's, but they all only have at least x squared. So my greatest common factor is 12x squared. Factoring that out, my first term would be x, z to the 5th. Next term would be plus 6, because 12 times 6 is 72. X to the third, I would need x to the third in order to multiply by x squared to be x to the 5th, y squared z. The last term would be minus 5 y. That would be my factored form. Number 5, not all the terms have variables, but they do all have a common factor of 5. Pulling that out as a factor, so factoring out the 5, I would have 3a squared b squared minus 2ab plus 1. Again, I need to put that 1 in there because the last term is plus 5 for that one. Number 6. All the terms have x's and z's, but the least number of them, we have, they all have an x to the first, z to the first. So I'll pull that out. The first term will be x, second term will be z, third one will be minus 1. Number 7. You can pull out 11n squared, and you would have negative n plus 2. You could have also pulled out, so if that was your answer, you could have also factored out a negative 11n squared In that case, you just have to take care of the signs. The first one would be a positive n. Second one will be a positive, oh, I see, I just did that previous one wrong. Let's pull that area out. This one should be minus. Okay, so you notice on the first one I made a mistake with that minus sign. It's 11n squared minus n minus 2. If I pull out a negative 11n squared, then I would have positive n, and then I would need a positive 2 in order to make that last term negative 22n squared. Okay, sorry if that confused you. Either of those two answers is correct. For number 8, you can pull out a 5. They all have at least a squared, and they all have at least b. So for the first term, you have 2ab squared plus 5b squared minus 1 again. Don't forget to check your work by multiplying it through and making sure that you get the original polynomial. Number 9, you have the GCF of 24, 18, and 12 is 6. And they all have at least an x. They all have at least a y. So that is my GCF. First term would be 4x. Second term would be minus 3xy. My last term would be minus 2y. Now I will check this one. I didn't check all of them in front of you so that you, but I do want to show you how you check them here and there so that you're doing it on your work. So 6xy times 4x will be 24x squared y. That's that first term. Then 6xy times negative 3xy will be negative 18x squared y squared, which is the second term. And 6xy times minus 2y is negative 12xy squared, which is the last term. So this is correct. I've checked my work. Go ahead and check, correct any that you've missed, or let me know if you have any questions.